Press record. Okay, lovely. Yes, so today I wanted to do like a really nice gentle movement and just a little bit of a stretch, but really kind of taking care of each part of our body. So I want us to start from the top of our head and kind of work our way down, like giving attention to every single part of the body, like each joint, and giving it a bit of love and a bit of a stretch and a bit of a movement. So I'm actually going to start on the floor to start with the neck, and I'm going to start on my knees. Perfect, lovely. I'm just going to start with a few breaths because you know I always like to start with some nice big deep breaths to oxygenate all of my body. So I'm going to take it in through my nose. Oh, actually, just before I start, I forgot I haven't put you guys on mute. So I'm just going to pop you guys on mute just so it just stops any like background noises. But feel free to unmute yourself if you've got any questions or anything. Okay, cool. Right, so I'm just going to start with my big deep breaths, taking it in through your nose and out through your mouth. And exhaling out. Lovely. Number 2. And out. Number 3. And out. And last one. Let's do it as a sigh as we exhale. Lovely. Good. Making sure we're nice and lengthening with the spine, keeping our tummy nice and tight. I want to take our ear over to one shoulder and then gently lifting it up and take it over to the next. Lovely. And take it up and over, up and over. Lovely. And this time we're just going to hold here for a little bit longer. So just letting the extra time just release any muscles and give it just that space to lengthen out the neck. Often where we hold a lot of tension, making sure we're keeping them shoulders pulling down as well. Lovely. And then bringing the same arm as the ear is leaning over and just place the hand on the top. Just to deepen it ever so slightly. You don't need to push down the hand, just the weight of the hand is enough. And if you do want to take it even deeper, you can take with the opposite hand and just push away and kind of push into the floor as well, and you should feel the stretch go deeper. You might not feel you need that, in which case don't worry, but the option's there. Lovely. Lifting the hand off, gently lifting the head up. Good. And then taking the ear over to the other side. And again, we're just going to hold it here and just letting that time gently bring the ear closer to the shoulder as the muscle starts to relax and unwind. Lovely. And then again, we'll just place the hand on the top just to add that extra little bit of weight to deepen the stretch. And then if you want to, you can push away with the opposite hand to deepen by pushing the shoulder down. It's just lengthening out that muscle that runs from kind of like the corner of your ear all the way to the end of the shoulder. Lovely. And then lifting the hand up and lifting the head back up. Perfect. Turn the nose so it's in line with the nipple, and then we're just going to drop the head back down again. And you should just, it will feel like the stretch has come from, it's still on the side, but it's just going a little bit more round to the back of the neck. And we can place our hand on again and just let it sink into the stretch that little bit more. Fabulous. Lifting the hand off, lifting the head gently back up, taking it back to center, and then turning it the other way, nose in line with the other nipple, and again just placing the hand on and just letting that muscle down the back just really stretch, back of the neck, just really stretch and lengthen out. Lovely. And lifting the head, the hand off and the head back up. Lovely. I'm going to take my ear over to side number 1, and I'm just going to roll it around that front semicircle to get it to side number 2. And then I'm just going to roll back through that front semicircle. So I'm just rolling through the front half of my rotation, just to really start to get that movement and help to stretch all of the muscles in the back of the neck at every angle. Lovely. And let's do one more. Back and forth. And then bring your head back up. Lovely. We're going to then take our head directly down, interlink the fingers, and then just place the hands on top. And just letting it, just use that weight of your arms and your hands just to deepen the stretch in the back of the neck. Lovely. And then lifting the hands off and returning the head back. Oh, fabulous. Lovely. Now from here, we're just going to work on our shoulders. So I want us to bring our shoulders forward. So I'm rounding out my shoulders at the back, pulling my shoulders forwards, and then I'm going to open out my chest and squeeze my shoulder blades together at the back. So I'm just rotating them forwards and backwards, and forwards and backwards. Lovely. One more. Lovely, really nice. And then we'll take them up to our ear and pulling them back down. So lifting them up and pulling them back down. I always like to do this with my breath. So lifting it up, I inhale, and exhale as I push them down. Lovely. I love that little wiggle as you did that, Sarah. Like, oh. Lovely. One more here. And then we'll take them round through all of those motions. So bringing the shoulders forwards, lifting them up to the ear, pulling them back and squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then pushing them down. Bringing them forwards, inhale up, squeeze at the back, exhale down. Pulling them forwards, inhale up, squeeze at the back, exhale down. And then let's make them a little bit more fluid. Lovely. And I want to put our hands on our shoulders. We're bending the elbows, and then just repeat the same motion. It actually just feels so much different when you've got your elbows bent. It's really interesting. Lovely. And let's take it the other way. Squeeze at the back, lifting up, rounding forwards, taking it down. Lovely. Good. Fabulous. And then relaxing. From here, I want us to really think about the sternum, so the bone right in the middle where our rib cage joins. So that's the bit that I want us to think about, is doing the moving. So I'm going to push it forward. So yes, it will open up my shoulders. I will be squeezing my shoulder blades together at the back, but I'm pushing, and I might feel it in a bit, my lower back, pushing my rib cage forward, particularly in the sternum. And then I'm going to push it back. So I'm really like hollowing out my body. My pelvis tucks under, my shoulders are rounding. And then I'm going to push it forward again, pushing it as far as forward as I can, and then pushing it back. Lovely, and forwards. Just getting that big stretch, and back. And introduce the neck as well. So as you push forward, you can look up to the sky. And then as you push back, looking down. Lovely. Once more. Lovely. And then taking it from one side and then pushing the rib cage to the side. This one feels a bit weird, so you don't get as much of a movement going side to side as we do forward and back, but that's okay. And then we're just going to link the moves together. So going forwards, side, back, other side, forwards, side, back, other side. Lovely. And then starting to get it to feel nice and fluid. And you might start with small circles and then feel like you can get a bit bigger into the rotation. Yeah, lovely, good. Pushing the chest forwards. Lovely. And then let's change direction, taking it the other way. Side, forwards, side, back, side, forwards, side, back, and then starting to get it to feel a little bit more fluid. That's the rotation. Good. Lovely. And last circle. Fabulous, really nice. From here, I'm going to roll ourselves onto our all fours. Make sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. And actually, we're going to do a very similar feeling movement as what we've just done. So I'm going to push my, I kind of think about it from my sternum. So I'm pushing my sternum down towards the floor. So I'm arching my butt up. I'm really pushing down in my lower back, pushing and squeezing my shoulder blades together and looking up. And then as I come out the other way, my pelvis tucks under. I'm rounding, pulling my tummy button up into my spine, rounding out the shoulders and looking down. And we're going to do this with some breath. So as I look up, I'm going to inhale and arch my back, and then round my back and exhale. And inhale, looking up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, looking up, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, rounding out, pushing through the shoulders. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And last one. Inhale. And exhale. Lovely, really nice. Make sure you've got enough space in front of you. I want you to keep your knees directly underneath your hips and then bring your hands forward. So you're pushing your chest down to the floor. So I'm in my puppy pose. I'm really sticking my butt out, pushing through my lower back, but I should feel the stretch in my shoulders and like all across my upper back. Lovely. If you can bring your chest to the floor, that's great. If it's working towards it, that's even better. If you do find that your chest is touching the floor and you want to go deeper into the stretch, you're welcome to raise up your hands. So if you've got like a box or some books or yoga blocks, or if you've got a foam roller, they work really well. And they, I think I'll just go on here, just show you what I mean. I can then just put my wrists on top of a block, which makes it higher, and therefore I've got a little bit more space, and it finds it, I find it a bit easier to get into a deeper stretch this way. You might not need that, so don't worry if you don't. It just depends on how tight your shoulders are feeling. And imagine, oh, this is what I really like to imagine, is that someone is pushing down on the top of my back, right on the upper part of my back. Someone is pushing down so I can get a little bit deeper. Lovely. 2 more breaths here. On each exhale, feel yourself sinking into a deeper stretch. And then gently coming back out of it. Lovely, really, really nice. I'll put my phone on to one side. Lovely. Bringing yourself around so you're lying on your, well, you're sitting on your butt, and then we're going to lie ourselves down. And we're going to take it nice and gently on our hips. So what I want us to do is just pick a hip. I'm going to pick my right hip first. I want to lengthen out my left leg so that that one's lying straight next to me. And then with my right hip, I'm going to pull my knee in towards my chest and just pop my hands on the knee. Yeah, perfect. And then from here, I'm just very gently going to circle my knee round. So I should just feel like a really gentle circling in my hip. It doesn't feel too, I don't feel discomfort. It's just like gently taking attention to the hip, starting to rotate it round. Lovely, good, really nice. And then taking it the other way, gently taking it in just the opposite direction. And again, just nice small circles. It doesn't feel, for me, it doesn't feel like I'm taking it through any extremes. It's not like I'm taking it all the way round and across. I'm just doing nice small circles just to get the blood to really focus in that area. It's a really good, I find a lot of people hold a lot of negative energy in their hips. I know I certainly do, so if I'm feeling stressed in any way, it's normally my hips that start to feel really stiff. So something like this just helps to give a bit of attention and blood to help to keep it moving and oxygenated. Lovely, fabulous. And then let's switch legs. So drop the right leg down, lift up the left knee and hold on to the knee. And then we're just going to gently circle the knee round on this side. Just easing gently, gently, gently in the hip. Beautiful. Good. Gentle, nice, small circles. Just giving the blood a little bit of area to that to work on. And then change direction, taking it the other way. Lovely. Fabulous. And then gently, last 3, 2, and 1. And then bringing the feet back down. Lovely. From here, we're staying lying down. I want us to bring both of our knees in and holding onto them. Keep your feet together and then drop your knees out to the side. You might then want to hold onto your feet or on your ankles or on your calves and just let your knees go from side to side. And then we're just going to rock from side to side. And you might feel stretch in the hip. You might feel it on your inner thighs. You might feel it in both. But you're not going too extreme. I just want you to just start to ease into it nice and gently. If it does start to feel a little bit too much or it feels clicky in the hips, use your arms to gently support your legs so it brings them in a little bit closer. But if it does feel okay, then you can just hold onto the feet and then it will allow space for your knees to drop wider if you need to, if it's feeling nice and comfortable to do so. Perfect, lovely. Good. Bringing the knees back together, bring your feet down to the floor. We're just going to do a little bit of a twist on your lower back. So we're going to drop our knees down over towards the left-hand side. I'm going to stretch out my arms so that my hands are in line with my shoulders, outstretched. And I'm making sure that because my knees are dropping over to the left-hand side, making sure my right shoulder is pinned to the floor. So if it starts peeling off and I start rolling round, then I'm not going to get as deep a twist in my lower back, and that's really where I want it to feel. Lovely. Then take the knees up, and then take your knees over to the right-hand side, and then you're going to look over to your left-hand side, and make sure that your left shoulder is pinned to the floor. Lovely. Just really enjoying that twisty sensation in the back. Lovely. Gently bringing yourself up to center. Drop the knees back over to side number 1, into the left-hand side. And this time we're going to take our right leg, so the top leg, and just take it a little bit further. So I'm literally just bringing it so that the knee pretty much so the foot comes to where the other knee is. So my right knee is higher, and my right foot is sat on top of my left knee. And it will just take it into a much deeper stretch. Remember to keep pinning the right shoulder down to the floor, looking over to the right-hand side. If you feel like that stretch is too much, you can just take your foot a little bit lower. Lovely. And then bring the knees back together, feet back together, reaching it back up to the top, and then dropping it gently over onto the other side. So now both my knees are on my right-hand side. I'm going to be looking over towards my left-hand side, pinning my left shoulder to the floor. And then I'm going to take my top leg and then just lift it that little bit further and over. I like to bring my foot to my knee. That just feels like a nice place for me. Have a little play. You might want to take it out even further or bring it in a little bit more, whichever kind of feels like it's hitting the right spot, and just really allowing that stretch to deepen in your lower back. Lovely. One more breath here. Fabulous. And then gently bring the feet together, the knees together. And actually we're going to stay sideways on because I'm going to sit myself up. So I'm going to roll over onto my right-hand side and then gently lift myself up. Fabulous. Taking yourself in a nice comfortable seated position, and we're going to have our legs out in front of us. Now when I'm in this position, I don't know if you noticed me, but I was basically trying to pull any fleshy bits, any of my butt cheeks out of the way, because I really want to be sitting on my sitting bones, on my ischium. So there's some bony bits, basically. That's where I want to be sitting. And this will mean that I can straighten and lengthen out my back. If I notice that I'm tucking under and my pelvis is tucking round and I'm rounding in my lower back, then grab yourself if you've got yoga blocks or some cushions, just to lift up your pelvis. Lost my words then. Lift up your pelvis a little bit higher, and it will just mean that you're then it's just because you've got tight hamstrings, basically. So don't worry about it at all if that's the case. I often have to do that, but today they're feeling good. So I want to have my legs nicely straightened out in front of me. I'm going to take a minute to really draw myself up. So I want to start to tilt my pelvis out. So I should start to feel a bit of a stretch in the back of my hamstrings, lengthening, pulling up. I'm going to take a big deep breath in, reaching my hands high, and then exhale, folding myself forwards, and then releasing it, and then taking it all the way back up. Lovely. So you might feel a big old stretch all the way down the back of the leg. You might feel it a little bit in your lower back, because that's where your hamstrings will attach to. So there's a hamstring that goes all the way underneath your glutes and into your lower back. I sometimes feel it there. So if you feel it there, that's just part of your stretch. Don't panic. Take another big deep breath in. Exhale, folding it forwards. And relax, taking it all the way back up. Inhale, fold forwards. And up. Inhale, fold forwards. And up. Inhale, fold forwards. And up. Last one. Fold forwards. And up. Lovely. Now I've done some nice little motions, just starting to warm up the back of the legs a little bit more. Now what I want us to do is, as we lift up, inhaling, I want us to reach forward and imagine that your chest is trying to lift up and over. So it's dragging you up and over, kind of heading up and over towards you, as opposed to straight down. I want you to also, this is another visual that kind of really helps me getting in the right position, is I want to imagine that my tummy button is trying to touch my thighs, but it's trying to get as close to my knees as possible. So I'm really going to lengthen out my spine, draw myself up, lifting it up and over, and then we're going to hold it in this little position, and then we're going to do some little pushes. So let's just do it together. So we're lifting it up, draw the chest out, pull the tummy button all the way along. We're going to reach it out here, and then we're going to push ourselves with gentle little pushes for 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax, and take it back down. Lovely. And then we're going to do the same thing again. So reaching it up, pulling forward, reaching forwards, holding it in this like reaching position, and pushing for 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax. Good. One more. Inhale, reaching it forwards and pushing for 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax. Good. Now, hopefully, I know I certainly felt it. I felt like by the third one, my arms could reach so much more further than the first one, which is exactly where I wanted it to be. Lovely. Okay, from here. So we've had a little bit of a stretch on the back, but I want us to have a little bit of a stretch on the front. So I'm going to roll myself over onto my tummy. Ooh, shuffle myself back down. Nice and relaxed. So I want you to just have a little wiggle in the hips. Make sure you feel nice and comfortable, nice and relaxed. Fabulous. And then from here, we're going to bend our right leg. Is that my right leg? No, I'm bending my left leg, but I'll just go with it now. And I'm going to grab hold of my foot, pull my foot in towards my butt, and then I'm going to push my hip into the floor. And I should feel this big, beautiful stretch all down the front of my quad, and a little bit into the hips. The more I push my hips down, the deeper the stretch. Lovely, good. If you actually want to take this into a deeper position and a deeper stretch, you can lift your knee up higher. You can also put a block under there, or a cushion, or a box, or anything like that but just by lifting the knee a little bit higher, it will take it into a deeper stretch. Just depends what you need. You might be like, no, it's as big enough stretch as it is. Lovely. And then bring the knee back down and relax the foot. Lovely. Breathe, switching over to the other leg. Now my right leg. Grab hold of your foot. So now we're on the opposite knee, opposite leg. Pull the foot in towards your butt. Push your hip forward, and that's really important. If I'm just relaxing this position, then it will be stretching it, but really not that much. Whereas if I push my hips into the floor, it makes the world of difference in terms of how much my muscle is engaged, how much it's getting stretched. So just by pushing in, you can also squeeze your butt cheeks. That will deepen the stretch as well. And like we said before, if you want to take it into a deeper stretch, you can take your knee a bit higher. You might find that that's too much. You might find that that really hits the sweet spot. Whatever, just have a little play around, whatever feels best and works best for you today. If you've started doing a lot of running, then you'll definitely feel that this is going to be a needed stretch. Lovely. And then gently bring the knee back down, and then your foot back down. Fabulous. Good, good, good. Pushing yourself up. And while we're here, actually, can you see me if I stand up? Oh no, I've cut off my head. I'm just going to tweak it ever so slightly. Hopefully you can still see my head-ish. Okay, well, you just have to imagine what my head looks like. Oh, no, I'm in, that's okay. So I want us to do a little bit on our calves. I love stretching out my calves. It's my favourite thing to stretch, I think. So I'm going to step it forwards. In fact, actually, I'm going to do a bigger step than that. Big step forwards, the bigger, the deeper my stretch, basically. The back of my back leg is the calf I'm going to be stretching. Push my ankle down to the floor. Keep the top of my head and the back ankle in a straight line. So I'm going to lean myself forward, and the deeper I bend my front leg, the more I lean forward, the more I push my ankle in, the deeper the stretch. So I'm just kind of leaning forwards, pushing my ankle down to the floor, having a big, old, beautiful stretch in my calf. I just can't get enough of a good calf stretch myself. In our house, we've got kind of infamous calves. They're called the Bagnall calf. And I've got basically a disproportionately sized calf to the rest of my body. And we noticed it first when I did ballet with all the little girls when I was about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6. And they would all be sat in a line, and they'd have all little tiny little legs. And then I just had like this oversized calf in comparison. Yeah, I don't think you can tell. It doesn't look out of proportion on my body, but if you look at it against anybody else's legs, it does look a little bit weird. I'm like, and then just easing it off. Let's switch over to the other leg. So nice big step forward, pushing the back ankle in, leaning it forward, bending the front knee to deepen. Yeah, I'm have like issues with all boots, skinny jeans, can't fit in wellies. Like it's ridiculous. It's so frustrating, but I love them. You know, they do me proud, and they do enjoy a good stretch. Lovely, and just breathing. And you might feel this in your actual carpet. You might feel it in the back of your knee. If you feel it in the back of the knee, that's absolutely fine. That's just where that calf muscle is wrapping up. So your calf muscle does go behind your knee as well. Lovely stuff. Beautiful. Let's have one more breath here. And then relaxing. Lovely. I'm just going to do a little, whoop, I'm nearly losing my balance then. Do some little circles of my ankle just to finish off, to make sure we've gone properly from one, we're all the way from the top, all the way down to our toes, circling it round, and then changing direction the other way. Lovely, good. And then switch your room over to the other side, circle around the ankle. And the other way. Beautiful. And you're done. So all the way from the top of your head, all the way down to your ankles and your toes. A nice bit of movement, a nice bit of rotation, getting the blood going there to that area. And I think so often, especially when we're like training to do like big things like getting into the splits or doing like an amazing pole trick, we are so often pushing our body to its extreme, and it is so important just to sometimes just move your body just for the sake of moving it, and it helps heal any injuries, it helps heal wounds that you've got, it helps just keep your muscles alive and happy. So you've just done your body a whole world of good. I hope it feels nice and special. Mine does. So from my body to yours, I hope it does for you as well. If you're watching some recording, then I will catch up with you guys later, hopefully seeing you next one, and then I'm going to come and check in everyone who's live now. So let me just end this recording.